What's up? So let me tell you some lessons I learned from running my very first marathon and any race longer than a 10K. In January of 2024, so this year, I went on a run. Let me get it for you. January 15th, 2024, I went on a 2-mile run, 9:30 mile per hour pace. Took me 19 minutes. My heart rate for this run was an average of 185. It got up to like 190 at the end, which is horrible. It's not the worst run I had this year, but it's definitely the one that let me know I'm out of shape. Then February came, and I went on 7 more runs. These runs are about the same average, 9:27 pace, and I only hit like 17 miles. And for me, that's the most mileage I've ever ran in 1 month. I know, 17, not that hard. People do in like one day. I do it later in one day, but that was a lot for me. So at this point, I had never ran anything over 5 miles without stopping. Still haven't done that up until May. In May, I had a 7-mile run. I don't know what the deal was, but I went out for a short little 5K and I felt great. Don't know where it came from, but I just kept running and running and running and running. And eventually I finished back of the house and I hit 7 miles. And I jumped, I shouted. It was I'll never forget the moment where I finally hit 7 miles on a run and I didn't feel like dying. And then the very next month, after hitting 7 miles in one run the first month, a total of 22 for the month, I decided, you know what? Why not run a half marathon? If I can run 7 miles, I can run a half marathon, 13.1 miles. So me and a buddy went out to where I work, and there's a 1 mile like park loop kind of thing, and we ran a very slow pace of 12 minutes and 21 seconds per mile, and it took us 2 hours and 42 minutes to run a half marathon. Now this wasn't like an event, we just went out and ran one day, 13-mile run, basically a long run. Again, first time I've ever done that. I did 4 3-mile runs after that, totaling like 25 miles for the month. That was June. Now, skip July, where my shins were gone. On Club Monsters did not do great. Very stiff, have a high arch. They're not made for that, and so horrible shoe. So then comes August, a bunch of little short runs, 21 miles, not a big deal. And then September comes along. So at this point, at the end of August, I hopped in with my friends to do the marathon training, and they were at 2 miles on or 3 on a Monday and Wednesday, and a 5-miler or a little bit more on a Friday. So it's 3 times a week. Again, we probably didn't train as much as we should have, but that's what our training was. I didn't know what I was doing. I just was out there running, and we were going for it. September came along. End of September, I hit my second half. So the first one was 2 hours and 42 minutes. This one was 2 hours and 4 minutes. So somehow I cut off 40 minutes of my time within a short period of time. Now the next month, October, this is my biggest month of the year. Very proud of it. Don't ever want to do it again, but I probably will because I'll be training again and more often. So it's going to happen. But in October, I hit another half, cut off 4 more minutes. It was 2 flat. The next week, I did another one. It was slower. And then I did my longest run ever after 2 half marathons, 2 weeks in a row. And it was 17 miles. Super slow pace of 10:26 at 2 hours and 57 minutes. Heart rate was still pretty low, so I felt good about that, but my legs were dying. Again, that was a 70-mile month in October. In November, it was a 44-mile run for the whole month. The longest run was 9 miles. And then here we are in December. So December 21st, 2024, I ran my very first marathon after should have been more training, and my time I finished is 4 hours, 37 minutes, and 49 seconds. Along with that, I had my fastest 10K time at 57 minutes and 41 seconds. My fastest half marathon time at 1 hour, 55 minutes and 27 seconds. Now this is crazy because I see videos all the time about people going out for a marathon and be like, oh, 5K record or whatever it is because they went out way too fast. But I didn't feel like I went out way too fast, and I didn't see these notifications until after the race. And so to know that I cut 5 minutes off my half, and I don't know how, probably like 2 minutes off my 10K, I must have been feeling really good in that first half of the marathon. Don't know what it is, probably the people, all the things, running with a group. I stayed with my group or people in my group up until the halfway point. Again, I should have slowed down and I should have ran with them. But I felt the pride of wanting to finish on time, and I was on track, and so I kept going. But there are things that I learned through this process and all this running this year, and I feel like everyone's on some kind of hybrid athlete or running thing right now in 2024, and I hope it continues to 2025 because the health benefits you get from running like this is incredible. All that to say, a few lessons I learned. Lesson number 1, my goodness, get some really good shoes. I trained in the Hoka Clifton 9s from August until December. And then 2 weeks before the marathon, I got a new pair of shoes. The Nike, I think Rival Fly 4s. They're a newer shoe, but they're for running. And I would never in my life run another marathon in these shoes. I would, however, run a half or a 10K or a 5K or 15, whatever it is. Anything below a half, I would run in these shoes. But once I hit like mile 14, my feet hurt so bad that I did not want to continue, and I had 12 more miles to go. And so after that, every step was literally like stepping on rocks when I was running, or my feet felt broken. And so shoes are very important. To be fair, I was balling on a budget, but never for another long run like a marathon at all ever again. All right, tip number 2, nutrition. My nutrition usually is pretty good. Me and my wife eat really healthy, a lot of natural stuff, not really processed anything. It's just how we live, what we do. We like to cook. I like to cook, and so we cook at home a lot. Every now and then, we go to Sonic right down the road. But during training and stuff like that, I ate decently. I didn't eat like perfectly the whole time, but I ate good food, not too bad. Day before the race, I didn't eat a ton, but we had pasta the night before, early. Love it. I did not drink enough water the day before the race, so you should be chugging some water and the electrolytes and all that the day before the race so that you're fueled and ready to go the day of the race. I did not. Although I felt like I was ready to go the day of the race because all the hype and all the fun and all the people, and it was just like a really cool event, first marathon. I was ready to go. My group was ready. We were all hyping each other up, but that only lasts so long. I ran out of gels at mile 16, so I did not plan that well at all. And at mile 16, when I took my last gel, there was no one left around me. So this course is like either a down and back or a loop, whatever you want to say, but it's a half marathon, down and back or loop. And so once I got to the halfway point, there's people around me. I turned around, kept going. I looked back, and I was alone because everyone around me was a half marathon racer. And so they finished their race, and I had to continue on to mine for a whole nother lap. And so I felt good, though. I felt good until mile 16, took my last gel. And I was like, well, dang, that's a toughie because now I have no more of those to go. And that mentally just kind of got me through. Maybe it was a placebo, but knowing I had a gel was nice. Knowing I didn't have one was real bad. Took that mile 16, have 10 more miles to go, mile 20, and my legs just stopped. My left hamstring, there's an incredibly painful shock straight up my left hamstring. Whatever that was, I don't know, but I didn't like it. And then my right quad just cramped up on me like never before. And so this has happened to me before with my quads. I did a 40-mile mountain bike race in Virginia, but at least that race I could coast down mountains if I got crampy or like sit down, take a break. It was a 12-hour race, so I had time. This one, not so much. So I had to keep running step by step, and I couldn't. So from roughly around mile 20, 21 to mile 25, I just walked it out. 15-minute, 50-second mile, somewhere around there. I walked it out. There's no one around me. It felt horrible, and that's because of my nutrition. Because if I had the right nutrition, my muscles wouldn't have given out, and I could have kept running. So nutrition is huge. Number 3, training. I kind of already mentioned this in the beginning, but I did not train the way I should have trained. If you were listening, you saw that I had very few long runs before this race, and none of them came in and close to 26 miles. The longest one was 17. So I had very few long runs before this race, and I did not stick to my training like I should have, but I think I did just enough to finish. For the next one, definitely going to do more training, more consistently, probably every day running. So instead of 3 days a week, I'll probably do 6 days a week and take 1 day off. I'll do more speed workouts. I also lift on the days that I wasn't running, I was lifting. And so I think that's also very important during your training, is to do weightlifting while running. So make sure you implement weight training with your running training wherever you can. Number 4, and I would for sure do this again, is find a group of people, friend group, whatever it may be, set a goal to go train together, because it is so much easier to get up and go somewhere where you told people you would be and you don't want to let them down, so you're going to show up. Find people to run with, even if they're not doing the marathon. Like, just find a running group around your area. So find somebody to run with, find a group to do the training with, and just kind of spread out your running in different areas, and don't get bored or tired of the whole thing. All right, last one, number 5 of what I've learned is that it takes just as much mental capacity than it does physical strength and fitness to get through a race. When I told you I walked for like 5 miles towards the end of the race, that was the hardest 5 miles of the race, not because my legs were hurting, but because everything in me mentally told me to sit down, stop, take a break, don't get up, just stop the race right there. Like, you're not going to finish. There's no way you're making 5 miles. You're not going to make your time. Like, the pacer for 5 hours is going to pass you up in no time. Mentally, you have to know, like, it will end. Think of whatever quote you want to think of. Just do it. Go one more. Embrace the suck. Like, enjoy the process. Whatever it is that you want to say to yourself, say it to get you through. Look ahead and find a marker. Say, I'm going to get there. And then find another one. I'm going to get there. Make it little small portions, so where mentally you can attack each goal as it comes to you, rather than just being like, I have 5 miles. That's a long time. All in all, I love the experience of marathon. I'm going to do it again, probably a few more times, and there's a few other races I want to do as well on my bucket list of races. And so this is a new part of my life where I'm doing all these races. Like, I did the Spartan 10K Super earlier this year, and now I just did a marathon. And so I just want to keep adding to those things, to those goals that I've set for myself, for either my fitness or just because it's a hobby and I really enjoy it. And I would love to make it just what I do. And when my son grows up and gets older, I would love to do it with him. And so I'm going to keep going, keep trucking, and we'll see where the next one takes us.